So this is just a follow-up video. We've had a chance to play the Oceania expansion. Oceania? Expansion at least a couple times now. And so far, what do you think? I had to wait till you had food in your mouth.
I like it.
I like it too.
I love the new birds, of course, but I also like that they were really thoughtful about adding this nectar element.
Yeah.
But also the powers that are on the cards. There are some new powers and things like that that make
Game End is a new one.
Game End is a new one. Plus, some of the other powers are just they make it more dynamic.
Yeah, I had this last game. I had 4 Game End cards to play, which is really neat. Never seen that before. The nectar is really cool. When you spend nectar, it's basically a wild card food. You add it up, you get points for the game end. So the person who, say for instance, in the egg lane or whatever this is called, the meadow, the person who has the most spent nectar in that area gets 5 points, and the person right behind him gets 2. So first and second. So whenever you spend nectar, instead of throwing it back into cash, you kind of store it right here at the end, which is really neat. That's a neat game mechanic. And having the nectar, I was talking to Mary about this last night. Having the nectar allows you to play more birds. At first I thought, oh man, a wild card food? That's gonna make it so easy to get birds out. And it does. But I think that was one of the drawbacks of Wingspan, was if the bird, the dice just weren't coming up in the bird feeder, you were screwed. You had to wait and wait and wait and try to get the correct number of, or the correct amount of food or whatever you were looking for to play a bird. And that was one of the few drawbacks of Wingspan, I think.
Or you had to try to pivot your plan.
Yeah.
And, see if you could draw cards from here that matched your food or whatever. So yeah, it's
So playing more cards with that nectar, that's exactly what this does for you. It allows you to play more birds, and that's not a bad thing. It does make it easier to play more birds. But again, I've never heard anyone complain about, oh, I can play too many of my birds.
The only time that matters is if you get one of the goals that says bird cards in hand at the end of the game.
Yeah, and I really liked being able to play more birds. I was a little reticent to think that at the beginning, because I thought, well, that's just nerfing it a little bit. That's really just playing a little Care Bear to the people that want to play more birds. But to be honest with you, that nerf is great. Being able to play more birds is a very, very good thing in a game about birds.
And it also can be a little too tempting, and you can end up playing birds and then you realize, oh man, I don't have any eggs, and you need eggs for something, or you don't have any cards and you can't do other things. So that's something you do have to think about, is like if you've been starting like a tuck plan where you have lots of tucks, but then you start playing your birds, you're not going to have those to tuck. And so you have to be careful to not get too excited about playing the birds.
Yeah, and one of the mechanics in the new expansion is if you don't use the nectar that you've gotten in that round, out of the 4 rounds, it goes back. You lose it.
Yep.
So when you get it, when you draw it out of the bird feeder, you better spend it that round or you lose it completely. That happened to me once, and it is kind of a bummer for sure. But in all, I think it's a great expansion. The new birds are awesome. The new powers, the Game End powers, are really cool. They don't break the game or anything along those lines. And it really just helps solidify the game in that you get to play more birds. You literally get just more down on your player service. Now, we've only played it 2-player because of the stupid pandemic that's been going on. But with 5 players, I would really like to see this game and the expansion and how it plays. So maybe we'll have to, I don't know if the expansion's on Steam or not, but we'll have to play it online with some friends and see what that really does to it.
Yep.
But all in all, I'll give it a good solid 9 out of 10 in my view, because it's almost a perfect game.
It really is.
I like it a lot.
Plus birds.
Yeah, it's great. I like it a lot. So that's our opinion
of
on the
Wingspan, the Oceania expansion.
Yeah, and that's playing with the your Euro birds as well. We put them all together because why not? Why wouldn't you?
Because of course.
Yeah. So good time for sure. If you can grab it or gift it at Christmas time, it's a great expansion.
Yep.